Hello, Clayton. This is Meredith in Kansas. My husband and I got into real estate investing through my great aunt and uncle, and they've always managed their own properties. I've heard you say you don't recommend doing that, and after seeing some of what they've gone through, I can see why. But I'm a little concerned about the additional expense of hiring someone. What's the typical monthly cost for having a property manager? What's good range? And is it really worth that additional expense? Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith in Kansas. Great question. I'm a big advocate of property management because when you don't have property management, you're creating another job for yourself. And you have to ask yourself, what type of a life do you want? I mean, what we try to teach here on this channel is financial freedom, right? We want you to build passive income. We want you to build equity. We want you to build these performing assets. And why would you want to do all that if then you have to create another job for yourself and become a property manager? Look, to be a property manager and to do it correctly takes skill. It takes infrastructure. And it takes, we won't hire a property manager unless they've had about 5 years experience in a market. We want to know that they've got great software where they communicate with the tenants. We want to know what their screening process looks like. Do they do criminal background checks? All of those things, right? What kind of systems do they have in place for handling maintenance requests? When a call comes in at 2 a.m. because of a leaky toilet or something, do you want that phone call? So, just put that out of your brain right now. Like, if you're going to get into real estate investing and you want to do it correctly, think of it as a business, okay? You do not want to create another job for yourself and create another business. It is a business. And most people, when they get started, they think, oh, I can just manage this first property myself, right? It's just one property. Great. If you only ever want to own one rental property, then fine. Okay, if that's what you want to do, then fine. Manage the property yourself. But if you want to scale your investment portfolio over many years, then what's going to happen when you get that second, third, fourth, and fifth property, right? It's very alluring for you to have that very first rental property and to manage it yourself to save a few pennies. But you got to think long term, right? Now I'm going to add a second property, and it's very seductive for you to think, oh, I can manage that one too. And then you add a third. Oh, I can manage that one too, right? And now pretty much you've got 3 properties, 4 properties, and you're scaling this, and you've created another business for yourself. And sure, that first one might have gone swimmingly because you rented it out to a friend, right? And so they were always on time with their rent. Everything was easy. It was all great. It was peaches and cream. And then you get a bad tenant. Okay, then it spoils your entire taste for ever wanting to manage properties yourself ever again. So just don't do it. Just don't start out doing it. Don't cheapen out and just start to think that you're going to do this out of the gate. Just hand it over to a professional right away. Okay. Now, your question about price range here, like with the properties that we build at Morris Invest, and you can go to our website at Morris Invest, and right there on the front page, you can see the types of new construction properties that we build, duplexes and single families. That's what we do for our clients. And the property manager is going to place a tenant in those properties. Okay. Now, the reason clients work with us is because the internal rate of return is specific. And we know going into it that the property management is going to cost anywhere between, 8, usually for us around 8% or a little less, because we have long-term relationships with property managers. But if you do it yourself and you work with a property manager, you can expect anywhere between 8 to 12% is a good rule of thumb for property management. And it can actually go up if you're doing larger commercial properties. It can be a little higher. It can be lower. So in that range, though, is a good rule of thumb, 8 to 12%. I've owned properties all over the country. And in Pennsylvania, it was about 8% or 10%. In other areas it was 12%. So that's a good rule of thumb. But that number should be absolutely figured into your internal rate of return based on how much you're financing the property for. What are you paying on property taxes? What will the rent be? All of those things are factored into your internal rate of return. So property management is figured into that number. So if you're getting a great return, then what do you care that a property manager is going to be taking 10% of that income? It's already figured into your number. You already know ahead of time that you're making an 18% return or a 22% internal rate of return. Like, we know that with our properties at Morris Invest, we know those numbers. We know that the internal rate of return on our properties that our clients buy is going to be between 18 and 22% at a minimum, 18% minimum. But we have those numbers figured based on property management, based on taxes, property taxes, all of those things, and the financing and the interest rates and everything. So all of those things are factored in to your overall numbers. So Meredith, don't be scared about this. Numbers don't lie, and don't be emotional about it. Managing properties yourself, I say, is just a huge mistake. It can cause so many headaches for you, and that's why you ever hear the saying, tired landlord? If a young investor is just starting out, they tend to maybe buy a property from a 80-year-old tired landlord. Why are they tired? They're tired because they've been managing a property or properties themselves, and they just don't want to do it anymore. If these are hands-off passive income investments, then what are you tired about? What are you tired about? There's cash coming in every month, and you've got an amazing tax shelter. So you shouldn't be tired, and managing properties yourself will make you tired. Don't do it. All right, everyone. Here at morrisinvest.com, there's a little microphone tab. Click on that, and you can leave us a 30-second voicemail question about anything that you have on your mind. Real estate related, equity, taxes, 1031 exchanges, all of those things, we will attempt to answer it here. All right, until next time, everyone, go out there, become a real estate investor. I believe it's the number one way to build wealth. Don't waste any more time. If you've been wasting time, get started in the year 2022 to really make a change in your life. All right, we'll see you next time, everyone.